Hi guys, and welcome to a new episode. Um, oh no, I dropped a thing. I can find it later. Sorry, that's a really crappy way to start off a celebration episode. Today, what we're celebrating. I dropped my phone. Today, what we are celebrating is my reaching of 6 subscribers. I It's not that big of a jump. I know it's only 2 from the last time I celebrated or thanked you guys for subscribing. But it's a big deal for me cuz I honestly didn't think I would have more than the 2 I started out with, which are technically the same person. Um I genuinely thought that I was going to get nowhere with this. Um and it would just be some silly hobby that I had. But the 6 of you, technical 5 of you, but still, have given me more than I could ever ask for from this. And initially, when I started recording, this was not going to be some sappy, silly, ridiculous thank you video for subscribers, but I do genuinely want to thank each of the 6 of you. Um, the last 2 of you, I'm not sure when you joined. I don't know who you are. I can't even find where it is you joined, but I do thank you sincerely. Um, so far, what I've done is Inscription, Sims 4, D&D pre-builds, horror reactions, the test and personality tests, which are coming out soon, or have already come out by the time this comes out, and an episode of Minecraft that I will be getting back to. I will be getting back to the horror reactions and D&D pre-build characters as well. I just have not had the time, and the personality test stuff and Inscription are easier to film. I also need to get back to The Sims. Those are getting fewer and farther between. When that was the initial game I ever played. Um, I'm hoping to get another Inscription video recorded Sunday, which is tomorrow, um, and get a Sims episode recorded as well. I might throw in a D&D pre-build character just for the fact of I'm working on a campaign myself right now. And doing a pre-build character might be good for me in the middle of working, on that. Sorry, my voice is horrendous and I hate it. um so for the what 4 of you that don't know me, my name is Castor Toplinski. I am a gamer, quote unquote. You can kind of see the type of games that I play on the screen right now. I do, however, also, I've gotten more into Mario as of lately, um, because of a new friend. I've also done some story times on here. I plan on doing, I have scripts planned out for ASMR videos outside of the Sims, Cast Does Cast, and house builds that I do the gentle rambles for. Um, Sorry, one of my subscribers is actually texting me right now in the middle of this because I know them in person, and I've mentioned them before. They will be shown at the end of this video. Um, their bubble is always shown at the end of my videos because they started me on this technically. They got me my first follower and she's my best friend. Love her to death. Anyway, sorry, 1 second. Sorry, had to respond to that really quick. Um, so what I wanted to do, in celebration of 6 subscribers, is list 6 things for each of the things you view here, um, that should either be implemented, or are my favorite thing, or what I think could come of the first thing. That last one's mainly for the test because I haven't played the other two because I'm broke and cannot afford it, which is why I started doing this. And I'm still not making money from it anyway. Uh, so to start things off, we're going to start with The Sims. Uh, at number 6, the thing that I'm least worried about getting implemented, but I'd like to see it at some point, is the option to choose your pronouns in CAS. Unfortunately, that does not make the top 5 because the other things are really important to me. But I do think that should be implemented as soon as possible. You should be able to choose or input pronouns as you see fit. Kind of like in the name slots. I think that would be interesting. Coming in at number 5 would be the addition of reptile pets. Because, like, you can have cows and chickens now with the cottage living update, foxes and rabbits, hedgehogs, hamsters, guinea pigs, and stuff like that with My First Pet stuff. Cats and dogs, obviously, with the addition of cats and dogs. But you don't see, like, turtles or lizards or snakes or anything, but you do see frogs. I'll give them the frogs for that. But I think having reptiles as pets would be really cool. The reptilian pack, I would probably call it. Number 4 is the addition of up to 2 more personality trait slots, because 3 personality traits is not enough. Because yeah, you'll have your 3 main personality traits, but there's so many more combinations that should exist that don't. Number 3 is the addition of. I didn't write these down, and I should have written these down. The addition of. Oh, it was a type of. Oh yeah, it was the fantasy world. Like, you can make centaurs and satyrs and because, like, I know we have mermaids and vampires and aliens, but, like, things like werewolves don't exist. I think like a werewolf pack would be cool, or the addition of just like a fantasy world where, like, the NPCs walking around are satyrs and centaurs and elves and drow and all that. The addition of having pointed ears for more than just the vampires would be really cool. Coming in at number 2 is the disability assistance, such as hearing aids and wheelchairs. Also height sliders, but that wouldn't make this list. But that's relevant too. Disability. I say disability, and it sounds incorrect because those things are not disabilities to me. They're just, I don't know, how a person is. They're not necessarily disabled. They just are built in a world that is not built for them. They're built in a world. They're living in a world that wasn't built for them. Um, and coming in at number one, the thing I've wanted from the get go with this game is the ability to give Sims vitiligo. Vitiligo is a pigmentation disorder where the pigmentation in your skin is fought off like it's a disease when it is in fact not, changing the color of your skin from dark to white. They have the ability to implement this, however, they just simply have not. And it kind of frustrates me a little bit. I do want to find a place where I can show these suggestions to Sims, but I don't know where to do that. So if somebody knows how to do that, go ahead and leave it in the comments. I would very much appreciate it. I will even leave you a like and respond to you because I can respond to comments. Because I don't have millions of followers, I can talk to you guys. I can actually have conversations with you guys. I might do a talk back live sometime when I've got like the time and the house to myself. Moving on to D&D. 6 things that I think should be implemented. Actually, one thing I would take away from D&D, I'll start with that. That's my number 6, is that I don't know why Underdark racism exists. Like, I don't see the point in that. Because, like, tieflings, yeah, like, they're demons and all that, but who wants to experience racism in a game where you're supposed to be able to escape real life? You know what I mean? Racism or homophobia or transphobia, stuff like that shouldn't be a part of D&D. And in my personal opinion, if you game that way, you're a piece of shit in real life too. That's kind of just how it is. Especially if you're a paladin and you use the reasoning of your paladin's religion to be homophobic, racist, or transphobic, I hate you with a burning passion. And you can get the hell off my page. So that's number 6. Number 5 would probably be more races, more creations, the ability to crossbreed different races, like half elves and drow. Do like a half drow. I personally just created a half drow, half high elf for my new campaign. She's the BBEG, but that's only because she was abused. So, number 4? We're on number 4 for, for D&D now. Is I think that designs for character sheets that are dyslexic friendly or dyscalculia friendly, like, they're necessary. And every single DM should have access to them if they have a player that is dyslexic. Are there players who pretend they're dyslexic when they are not? Yes. And I hate those players because they screw me over. I just recently found PDFs for dyslexic friendly character sheets, and I have been using them. I love them to death. They're so much easier to look at because they have shapes instead of just random squares and circles. They have like physical shapes, like a heart for the health, and all of that loveliness. My Wi-Fi. is shit. Which is not affecting this, but it's affecting my phone. I think number 3 would probably have to be I don't know, the more widespreadness of considering what players don't want to talk about. There are some DMs who do not care what topics are off limits to you, that you cannot be around the conversation of without breaking down. Like, D&D is a consent-based game. You know, it needs to be consensual all the way through, and you need to make sure that your players are comfortable with the things that are being talked about or played into or whatever, you know? Like, you need to be able to have that conversation with your players of, hey, these are topics that cannot be talked about. These are topics that need to be checked in on if they are talked about, stuff like that. It is not as regular as some people think, and that's really, really unfortunate. Number 2, more easily available map creating applications for DMs. Because some of us do homebrew campaigns and we have to search high and low for some sort of map creating app because we don't know how to actually make a map on physical paper. I just recently found one, which, by the way, it's called Incamate. It is fantastic. I love it. I mean, you have to pay for it sometimes, but it's not as expensive as some of the map applications I've found. And number 1 would probably be, again, disability inclusion items. Things like a wheelchair or hearing aids or a crutch or prosthetic legs or leg stretching devices for people who were born with one leg regular length and the other leg shortened, stuff like that. That should be implemented. And people shouldn't say, "Oh, well, you're just making it difficult to play." Like, no, I'm making the characters something I can relate to. Like, it doesn't have to be something you physically have. It should, like, if you're playing a disabled character, it should be like played tastefully if you're screwing it up. But like, those should be things that are a part of the player's handbook, and they're not. They're a part of homebrew, or they're things you have to talk to your DM about on a sidebar, and that's ridiculous. Moving on to Inscription, 6 things that I like about Inscription. Because this is like a smaller game developer thing, I don't want to like bash on it. And I'm probably going to do a half and half with Minecraft. But 6 things that I like about Inscription is, first of all, you're seeing, like, once you once you get the mechanics down and you're able to win, you're seeing more than one type of gameplay. You're seeing 3 different types of gameplay. You're seeing Leshies, you're seeing the original game, and you're seeing P03s. And then in the ending, you're seeing something different. I'm not going to spoil it in case you haven't watched that. If you haven't watched that, go ahead and check out my Inscription series. It all should be in a playlist. Back when I was still like really bad at recording. Um, so that's number 6. Number 5 is, I actually kind of like that you have an idea of what their voices might sound like based off the sound effects provided with their text showing up, but you ultimately decide what their voice sounds like, which is really, really cool, and I like when games do that. Number 4 is that there's always new things. Once you play it once, you can play it about 1,000 times and find new crap every single time. I mean, until you find like all of the secrets, but I still feel like you could still play it after that and find something new every single time. Like, it's never just static, there's new stuff all the time. Um, Number 3. There's so much like about this game. um, Number 3 is how quickly you can pick up on the game and win. Because, like, it was what? 2 deaths, and I was into the second phase of the game. I picked it up like that, and I won. Um, and it's the same with the second phase and even the third phase. Once you pick up what you're supposed to be doing, it's easy. Um, Number 2, the character designs. Oh my god, the character designs are so fantastic. I don't know if you can necessarily tell with how crappy my computer rendering is, but the designs of the characters are absolutely phenomenal. Um, and you can kind of just tell the kind of people they are based solely on like the 4 or 5 lines you initially hear from each of them. Like the Stout, or P03, whichever you prefer to call them, um, immediately you're like, oh, this guy's kind of a douchebag. He thinks he knows everything. With Leshy, you're kind of like, this guy's kind of creepy, but I think he genuinely has everyone's best interest at heart. And then with Grimora, you're like, oh, this poor woman is so tired of existing. Is she okay? And then with Magnificus, he's also exhausted, but not in the same way. He's like a frustrated exhausted. He's watched this happen for years and years, same people playing the same shit over and over again. It's just it's really interesting. And number 1 is just the fact that it's a really well-rounded game. I know Daniel Mullins Games is not like a tiny developing studio or whatever, but it's not like EA or anything like that. It's not Mojang. It's not one of these big names. It's relatively small. There's like what, 3, 4 games from Daniel Mullins Games, and it's amazing, you know, that they've come so far from Pony Island, which no, I have not played, and I do not intend to. I'm sorry. um, it's really impressive. Moving on to Minecraft, we're gonna do the 3 things I think they should implement first. 3, I think they need to implement the Moo Bloom because I fucking said so. I love cows. They're so goddamn cute. It's not fair. Oh my god. Um 2, I think they should implement frogs. I want them to implement frogs. I'm not quite sure why. I just think it would be interesting. I know they tried to, and like it broke the game, but I think frogs would be interesting in like swamp areas. Number one would probably be I don't know. I feel like more rideable items would be nice, but also like I really want chairs. God damn it! How hard would it be to implement chairs? Really, I don't understand. Um, but three things that I actually enjoy about Minecraft are the fact that I can play it for hours and not even realize. Um, the fact that it's both a single player and an online player game is really really fun. But you can also, but I also really like that you can choose your difficulty. You can choose whether or not you're living through a survival world or through a creative world. You get to do whatever you want with the game within reason, and it's fantastic. Moving on to horror, just in general as a genre, I really like just being scared. The adrenaline rush that I get from being scared is, I think about the equivalent of being high for me, because then when I'm done watching it, after the fear actually subsides, I sleep like a baby. I may have nightmares later, but I sleep like a baby. It's, oh my god. I think we're on five now. Um, I stopped doing the countdown in the middle of the Minecraft one. My bad. That was a mistake. Number five that I like about horror is that you could literally do whatever you wanted. Like, I need to start watching scary videos available on YouTube other than Mandela Effect and Backrooms, because there are some amazing horror creators on YouTube. Just off the top of my head, oh, I can't remember their name, but there's also another channel that's called Lux Life of Luxury. Life of Luxury is a really good channel. Their budget is small, but like it's really good content because it's unsettling horror, which is really really good. And then there's also Crypt TV. That's what they're called. Crypt TV is phenomenal. They're so good. They've written so many good short films that are horror based, and it's just amazing. Analog horror has gotten really popular as well, so those are good too, obviously. Number four is that even non-creative stuff, like stuff that's been done before, they find new ways to do it and new ways to make it scary. Like Scream, eh, it's not it's not great, but like the Paranormal Activity movies, they didn't need to make that fifth one and make it circle back, but they did, and it was fantastic. It both had nothing to do with any of the rest of the series and had everything to do with the rest of the series. It was fantastic. I also really like that no movie is ever the same. it's never the exact same. There's the same plot lines, maybe, or like plot points specifically, but they're never the same movie. It it gets predictable for me because like I know how people write horror now, and I just kind of am used to the way things are. Not gonna say I don't jump at jump scares, but like, come on, Stacy. He's obviously behind the door. She, he, they are obviously behind the door. Don't fucking open the door. But everything is always different. I think we're on 2 now because I skipped saying 3 on accident. I really like how frequently movie movie creators like Blumhouse are given just these astronomical ideas and these itty bitty little budgets, and they're able to make something that makes your skin crawl. It's absolutely fantastic. Whether that's chase scene horror, jump scare horror, or unsettling horror, you're able to see whatever you want from them. And it never looks the same. Like I said before, it never looks the same. And number one is probably how many subgenres of horror there are. Like, I listed a few just then, but like, there are so many more. There's subtle horror, there's unsettling horror, there's jump scare horror, there's chase scene horror, there's religious horror. I like religious horror a lot. Anyway, moving on to the test and the last 6 things I will list for this video before saying my thanks and sending y'all off. Number 6 is how unsettling it was. Number 5 was the fact that it's a horror game, but not your typical horror game. It makes you question like everything about life. Number 4 is that it's kind of like a personality test, and it like low key exposes you if you record it. If you do it for yourself, you're not really getting exposed. You're kind of just like, I mean, yeah, okay. Number 3 is that it was done so discreetly. It was done really, really well, but also really, really discreetly. And I enjoyed how subtle it was. Number 2 is the unsettlingness that it actually gave me. Because like, if you're paying attention to that video when you watch it, it's a lot. I'm like, I don't like having to process any of these questions. And I really didn't. I did not enjoy processing half of those questions that I was being asked, but it was a really good concept, and I'm really looking forward to doing a video on the second and third ones as soon as I get the money to get those. And number 1 is that it didn't make me think about what was going on around me. It made me think of what could possibly be going on around me that I wasn't aware of. And that kind of set off my fight or flight, and it's fun to set off my fight or flight to see what happens from there. So yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you again so much for 6 followers, for 6 subscribers. Do remember that I have merch available on Threadless and Redbubble, designed by Pandora's Nightmare or Pandora's Nightmare Gaming. She's fantastic. They did a wonderful job on these designs, transferring them from paper to um, online designs or digital art designs. Um, this one is the colored version of the Stag Masquerade. Um, this is Starry Night Stag, and the antlers there are the entangled night sky antlers. I also have um, the Pride in Your Bookshelf line of stickers out, which is just stacks and collections of books, discreetly named and colored to match pride flags. And soon to be coming out is my Elemental Cats and Eevees and Dogs stickers. They are the alchemic symbols for fire, water, air, and earth, with dog paws, cat paws, or Eevee paws in the center. So, look forward to those. And seriously, guys, thank you so, so much for providing me with more faith in a dream I had when I was young. This is fantastic. And I love you guys so much. Until the next one, have a magical evening. And I will see you all later. Good night.